My name is Jan Buiting, I'm the editor of the magazine, and I'm very pleased to have with me this afternoon Stefan Schwark. I think he's going to be famous in a while, considering the books he's been producing and writing for us, which we'll talk about a bit later. But for now, we'll be doing a webinar this afternoon, won't we, Stefan?
Yes.
About Android apps or applications. I think that's a good time to begin. Stefan, the screen, that's this side, is all yours for the presentation.
Okay,
Go ahead, please.
Okay, today I want to show you some very simple ways to create your own Android app.
We keep it simple this afternoon, won't we,
Keep
Stefan?
it simple. Everything is every app is it's very basic, and you can build it on a rainy
Sunday afternoon.
Also.
Yeah, and have fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I see your result immediately.
You see it. Yes. Okay. Let's begin. I'm in the wrong. So.
This one button, I think. Yes. Okay. You see technology.
Okay. At first, I want to tell you something about the Android framework itself. After this, we take a look at the IDE. Every software you need to write your own application for Android. The first Android app, we will create a very little app, mostly a Hello World application.
The famous Hello World one.
Yes. After that, we will take a look at how you can read out the hardware sensors of your phone or tablet, whatever you use.
That's very much to do with electronics.
Yes,
Elektor is an electronics magazine, and we're very happy to just not to have a sort of academic application, but a real hands-on electronics
very practical.
stuff.
You can use it, and it's very technical things.
Yes.
After this, we take a look at an application for simple internet access, where we can access one web page or a web server, and at the end we take a look at applications to calculate formulas.
Okay.
So that you can build your own app for specific calculations.
Yeah, electronics calculations, I hope. Okay, let's see what we can do. Let's start at the beginning.
We begin with the Android framework itself. Let's take a look.
Oh dear, that looks complicated. Different layers.
There are different layers. The bottom layer is the system layer where the Linux kernel is working, because Android is basically built up on a Linux kernel. There are the drivers for the single things like the camera or the power management. You see the audio drivers. And your
libraries are available.
A lot of libraries are available.
You can find them. People do create them themselves.
Yes, it's open source, and because of the Linux kernel layer, you can implement Android very simple to another platform
if you want. Yep.
There are many available from PC over every tablet, and I've seen a car stereo with an Android.
With an Android built-in, based on Android.
Yeah, based on Android.
Brilliant. Whatever next.
The next layer are the libraries for the system, where the graphics and the database, media framework, and some things can be found. At the right side, we see the core libraries and the Dalvik machine. The Dalvik machine is the same like a Java virtual machine, but it's specifically built for processors in mobile devices.
Okay.
So it uses not so much resources.
Okay. So it's more economic in terms of current consumption, that sort of thing, for mobile applications.
Higher, we have the application framework.
Okay, yes, the next layer.
Next layer, these are the managers for the different things of the phone. You can the location manager for the GPS or the notification manager for which pop up some messages. And the highest layer
called the application layer.
Called the application layer. It's every application which interacts with the user.
Okay.
Okay. An Android app follows a life cycle. It starts and it ends. It starts with the creation and it ends with when it will be destroyed, so that it will be removed from the memory. Let's have a look. This is the look of a normal application, which is also called activity. The activity is an application which really interacts with the user. There are some other things, but today we take a look at activities.
Yeah, so there's a lot of activity going on in the phone, but you call activity interaction with the user.
Activity interaction.
Okay, that we should concentrate on that, I think.
You can see there are different methods which are called during the cycle. This is on create, on start, on resume. These are called when some event takes place. For example, if you run your application and a telephone call comes in,
what
something has to be
decided
done.
Yes, to give the telephone preference probably, because
so the activity goes in the background. You can make your call, and after that the activity comes back in the foreground and you can work with it. Okay, let's have a look at the
Eclipse,
Eclipse,
the software suite.
The software suite. Eclipse is an open source IDE. I think much people know it. It's very you can have it for many processors or many languages, and there are a lot of plugins. It's very resourceful.
It's the industry standard development tool for your Android applications.
If you want to create your own application, everything you need is basically the IDE. That's, for example, Eclipse. You can use any other IDE, but this Eclipse is normally the standard. You need the Android software development kit,
SDK,
and for the Eclipse IDE, the ADT plugin, which is the Android developer tools plugin.
That is not too long a list. That's relatively. That's all.
It's very short. Yeah.
Okay, you can download it in a Sunday afternoon.
Yes, you can download it completely as a bundle.
Okay, that's
from the
convenient.
Android developer webpage. Find it under this address for different platforms. If you use Windows or use Linux or macOS, that's
the best place to start.
Yes,
this is everything's there for downloading. Brilliant.
So okay. If you have downloaded and installed the IDE, you need something where you can test your application. This is normally an Android virtual device, which is an emulator for your tablet or for your phone. It's better to test the application in a virtual device because it's more convenient, and if you have made an error, the application crashes.
Nothing serious happens, or the kids won't start shouting.
This is if you create one of these devices, this is what you see. You enter a name for it here. You select a target where you what you want. In this case, it's Android 2.2, which is AP level 8. You can add an SD card, which is basically a file on the hard disk. Snapshot is here. It is disabled. It's just for if you don't want to boot the whole device. You can boot it from snapshot back. Skin is for the resolution of the display you want to use. And here you can add some hardware support when you, for example, here it's GPS support.
Yes, you obviously need this GPS hardware inside the phone, and you have to define that.
You can add it here. well, that's basically everything you need to enter. And when you then create the LVD, you get something like this.
Yes, okay. That's a virtual phone again.
It's a virtual phone, the typical Android screen. And you can do very much things with it, because you can connect to the emulator via a telnet login, and then simulate, for example, your GPS receiver.
Is it an accurate simulation, Stefan? Do you find it useful?
Yes, you can enter some normal strings for NMAL strings.
Yeah,
for,
NMA string. Yeah, you know, the GPS coordinate
yes.
strings. Yeah.
Or you can simply give some values to which will be displayed on the display.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the IDE Eclipse. The screen you see if it's if you call started. On the side here on the left there's the Package Explorer. The application you want to write will be show up on the side. In the middle here you have the place where the source code normally is displayed.
Okay. Yeah.
And here normally you use this for messages or something else. You see it's normally not very complicated and easy to work with. So
we're going to use wizards.
Yes.
Yeah.
We start a wizard for a new project. In this case we want to build a new Android project, which we select, and then we get this screen from the wizard. In this case we try to write a simple Hello World project. So the project name here, Hello World.
Yes, you can enter.
We create a new project in the workspace, and here we select the target.
So you have to select the target level, well defined, and make sure that is what the level you want.
Here it is Android 2.3.3.
Yeah, the highest two.
This is AP level 10. You can select any of these levels. Just look what your phone is using.
And stay compatible with that.
Stay compatible. Okay. If we scroll down the picture, we see here the application name and the package name, which we have to enter. If we have all these things, we can click Finish and create a new project, which is named Hello World. So, and there we go to our first Android app.
Yes.
And
it's still Sunday afternoon.
It's still Sunday afternoon.
And it's raining cats and dogs.
Yes.
Okay.
And now we have created our project. We open the source code and find this.
Yes. So Eclipse already presents you with a chunk of source code to work on.
Basically, it's a normal Hello World, like we wanna program it, and Eclipse creates this for us.
Yeah. Let's have a look, Stefan. What the lines do globally.
We see here the package, which we the name we have given.
We have defined that.
Here are the bundles, the packages we need to import for the activity. And this is the one method, the onCreate method, which will be called if we create the activity, and we do here load a layout from an XML file, and display this on the screen.
Yes.
This is
basically what happens.
This is basically what happens.
Yeah.
Here we've got the main XML. It's in the editor, which you can use in Eclipse to build these layouts. And we see here a Wysiwyg editor.
So what you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get. You can take here text fields, layouts. A layout is the order in which you arrange the different views, the different objects, different things, time and date, calendars.
Lots of options.
Everything you can see here, a button and a checkbox and such things.
Yeah.
You can place it here, and then Eclipse creates for you the XML file. This is the XML file which we are talking about. You see here the header, a linear layout tag here, and the layout has an orientation, in this case vertical.
Yeah, it appears like vertically on the screen.
Vertically.
Yeah.
The width and height is it should be filling the parent, which is in this case a display.
Okay.
And in this layout there are one text view. This is just a field to write some strings in it and show it to the user. The width is also fill parent, which means it fills the screen. Heath is wrap content. It breaks the string, and the text which will be displayed comes from a string resource named hello.
Okay.
This is also created from the wizard in Eclipse, and let's have a look. These are this is the strings XML. It's also an editor built into the IDE. Here we have two string resources. One is named hello and one is named app name. App name is
the name of the application. That's straightforward.
Hello is the string we want to display in our text view. This is the XML version of the string resource. It's also an XML file. We have here two strings. Hello is hello world activity.
Yeah.
And the app name is hello world. This is everything from this is created by the IDE. So, and this is what we get if we start our first hello world
simple application. But
application.
Something's appearing on the screen.
Something is appearing.
Yeah. We should be very proud of what we've done so far.
Okay.
Yeah, we should.
Let's make it a little bit better. Because now we have only one string we show on the display. There's nothing which we can do with this really. So we need some information
now,
which will be displayed.
Yes.
And
use variables and so on.
Yes.
Use values and do some electronic reading instead of static text.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. How do we do it, Stefan?
We do it. We read by reading out the hardware sensors of the device. In this case, we build a little photometer app.
Lux meter.
The most devices which have a built-in camera have this sensor.
Phone. Yeah.
Yes, like this. And so you can easily access it. And everything you need to do is you show the value which you read out of the sensor. And the value which comes from the light sensor is directly in Lux, so you can display it directly.
Okay.
And so we need a main XML file.
Again, yes.
Again for the layout. So if you can see. As you can see here, the text comes from a string resource. The text size and the color from the text view field is also given here. And at the bottom there's a second text view. The first one is green, the second one is red. So you can make interesting colors.
Color difference, to highlight it a bit, the value and so on.
This is the string XML for this application. We need the text light intensity, and we have the name, the photometer app.
Yep. Clear.
Okay, let's
the package name again.
Yes, it's the source code. We have the package name, and after this we import the necessary packages. In this case, you see there are mostly for the sensors, sensor event, event listener, sensor manager, and so. The rest of it is basically the same in the first picture, first example. This is the source code where we build our activity. You see, we extend an activity and implement a sensor event listener.
Yeah, we have to listen to to what the sensors are saying.
Yes.
Really, that's what it boils down to.
We declare some variables and the sensor manager, and go to the method on create. This is here where it gets interesting. We instantiate a sensor manager for the device, where we can and registers it here to the system.
Yes.
And after this we can get values from the device. You see here the type of the sensor which is given here. It's type light because it's the light sensor of the device.
Yeah.
Also possible is magnetic sensors or temperature for the temperature of your battery mostly, or GPS sensor.
So all these sensor outputs are available to the system.
Yes.
If you know how to access the value.
Yes.
You just have to register them.
Yes. You can choose the different sensor here, and then here. If you have these two methods. If you enter the source code of with the sensor event listener and the things, Eclipse will show you a little hint that these methods will be needed. Yeah. And if you click Quick Fix, it will be created as for you.
Why is it necessary to use override, Stefan? That strikes me as new and unusual.
Because these normally methods from the system, and you override it with your own version. Okay,
so you have to state that specifically, that the built-in method is being overridden by your own. Okay.
We use here the method on sensor changed, which will be called if the value from the light sensor is changing because it's dark or bright or whatever. And if the method is called, we make these things. We create a variable Lx, and in this variable we read out from the event values field the first value of the array and show it on the display. Yeah. If you have a sensor with just one value, it's every time here field index 0.
Is 0, yeah.
If you have it's like acceleration sensors for
they have X and Y values. They return 2 values, but this particular light meter returns just a single value.
Just a single value.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
So, okay, this would be
the simple light meter.
Simple light meter. All you need, just the Hello World application, and you make it a little bit better.
So now we've seen, placing texts on the screen as we like it. We have seen reading sensors and displaying values. Now let's see how we can connect the phone to the internet, to the websites.
Yes, it's also a very simple application. Yeah. Let's look directly at the source code, because it's mostly the first Hello World with a little bit
extension.
We can see here, the package name, and here the activity, the bundle, and we import a WebView object.
Okay. Tell us a bit more about that.
The WebView is an object for the display where you can display a website. It's like a little browser. If you
But you have to know the exact URL, I assume.
Yes, and you program the URL into the source code
Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
don't have to enter it.
Mm-hmm. Ah, okay.
So this is a little WebView activity.
Mm-hmm.
We create our activity here, and the new things are here. We instantiate a WebView and set here it is, and set the layout view to the WebView so that it will be displayed on the display. And here we have the settings of the WebView. When you see here, we enable JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
And here,
here comes the URL.
Here comes the URL.
Ah, okay.
We
Yep.
load exactly one URL. In this
Yes.
case, it's a sample map from
Google Maps or something. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Hmm.
one thing, if you want to connect to the internet, you need the permission of the system. Because Android don't give you normally access to anything.
Yes.
As,
I've seen a lot of these permissions with apps I've downloaded.
yes,
It specifically mentions which parts of the phone or levels are being accessed and permitted to do.
yes, these things are entered here.
Mm-hmm.
There's one file, the Android manifest file. It's also a normal XML file,
Mm-hmm.
and you can edit it here about some editor screens, which are also built into the IDE. You don't need to edit the source code from the XML file.
Okay.
Here we have the version code, version name. This is a package name. On the next screen, we can see here the label string. App name is the application name. Here you can take an icon and give it to the application, which will be displayed in the menu from the phone. And here's the thing which is interesting.
Permission
for us.
given to access the
Permission
internet.
given to access the internet.
Specifically listed.
Yes, you click here Add, and then you can enter the permission you want. There are a lot of different permissions for the internet, for the SD card, for location reading, or use the buzzer, shut down the device.
Yep.
Everything is okay. And
There's
this
our map.
is our map.
Is it static, Stefan?
No, it's not static. You can interact with it because you can zoom in. You can change the view on a different continent or whatever. It's like a fully functional map application.
So again, this is displayed on the virtual
This is on the virtual
smartphone.
smartphone.
Still no real smartphone, but you know our exercising device for the afternoon is a virtual smartphone.
Yes.
Okay.
That's with this app we can access one single web page. Okay, what do we do with one single web page?
I can mention a few examples if you want.
Yes.
You know, like watching what the baby is doing in its cot, or what the cat
like
is doing in front of the door,
Yeah, in camera.
or a live webcam,
Yes,
or
that's-
sales results, whatever, book sales, DVD sales results, whatever.
Yeah, I
You mentioned a few applications.
Today at home I have a smart meter.
Oh yes,
so
for your
electricity
electricity.
And I'm reading out the smart meter by my little server at home,
Okay.
and I can connect in the internal
Yeah.
network to the server, and he shows me in graphical my power consumption.
Yeah.
This is only one app.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Calculating.
We calculate with
Okay.
Android apps.
Yeah.
It's very convenient if you have your phone in your pocket. There are some formulas which are not so easily to calculate with your normal program, with a pocket calculator or something. And so we built an application where you can calculate different things, in this case with Ohm's law.
Yeah,
And,
Ohm's law, yeah. That's nice for electronics people, yeah.
Here, very simple, but often needed. And here we have the view of the emulator. This is an application. Basically, we have three fields where you can enter the resistance, the voltage, or the current. And if you enter two of the values, the third can be calculated by pressing the button for the missing
one, yeah. It will solve the equation, yeah.
So we take a look at the layout. This is the layout of the application in the normal Music editor of Eclipse. You see here the three, these are called edit box.
The edit box.
So edit field buttons,
yeah, with
things.
text.
And these here are little text views where I show which value should be entered in this box. Yeah. Okay, because of the source code is a little bit longer, we take a look at a few snippets.
Just a few sections, yeah, okay, appreciate that, yeah.
Here we see the onCreate dialog method, because this activity can create an error message.
Yeah, division by zero or something.
Division by zero or
famous
things.
Or negative
if you don't
resistance.
React to this, your application will be crash. And so you have to check.
Take a few measures.
You have to check it. You see here onCreate creates an alert if the value is empty or zero. This is the whole method. We build in dialog, set the title to the input error, and set one button OK, where you can click, and if you click here, it's an empty method. The onClick method is empty, so we do nothing. We clear the alert, and that's all.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like. You see the background, there are no values in the fields, and if we want to calculate here one of these buttons, nothing can be done, and so it's an input error.
Yeah, clear.
So this is the onCreate method of the application itself, from the activity itself. We see here the normal layout main, which we have created with the three fields and the buttons. These are the edit text where we find the handle to the text boxes and can access it. This is a button, this line here.
Yeah.
So it's the button 1, and we set an onClick listener to react if someone click it.
That's also a listener task.
It's also a listener.
Yeah.
So this is the onClick listener. If you click this button, we at first we check the input.
If it's valid at all.
If it's valid at all. If not, we show the dialog, which we have seen.
Error.
And if everything is correct, we calculate from the fields, from the values in the fields, the result, and put it into the third field.
Yeah.
So this is this is not the complete. It's a part of the method which checks the input. You can see here we check if it's empty or if there's a zero in the field, and if one of these conditions is valid, then we show our error messages. Yes, also this is a very good example how you can write a little application with an implemented formula.
Yep.
So that you have, if you put these applications together with a little menu or something, you have a very useful thing for different calculations in your pocket.
And it's all homemade.
It's all homemade.
From Eclipse and
So.
Aha. Okay. Yeah. Your book's available, isn't it, Stefan? On
Yes,
Android apps.
It's available from Elektor online stores in different languages.
Yes, I've actually got a pile of these. Look at these people. We have them in all languages. Patrick, the cameraman. I like that. We have them in have the book in German, Stefan, in Dutch, in French, and in English. And you can get your copy from the Elektor online stores. Everybody is watching, I think, should be able to find that quite easily. And for the German viewers, we also have a DVD of Stefan's presentation at Dortmund, which was slightly longer than this one,
Yes.
more extensive and more in-depth. So if you want to watch that, that is also available on the German website. Perhaps little bit more about the book, Stefan?
Yeah, you can, in the book I make a lot more examples. It begins with simple examples like we've done it here today.
Yeah.
And it goes to applications for accessing the GPS receiver and write a curve of the speed. Or
But still, you do it step by step.
Step by step. It's
yes. I've done the editing on the English version, and I was able to follow that in reasonable detail, right until the end. So that shouldn't be a problem. And again, Eclipse is a very useful tool. It gives you a lot of help for creating your own application. And again, this virtual smartphone, the virtual Android application is, of course, the thing to have. You can debug your application completely until it's ready and finished and polished and what have you. And then you start compiling it, I presume, and then put it in a real smartphone or make it available to people.
It's compiled if you run it on the virtual device.
Yes.
Every time you start the application,
it is actually compiled.
There will be the package, the APK package, which you can install on every Android device, will be created. This is given to the emulator, and there it will be installed.
Okay.
So this is what the snapshot is like for, because if you don't start every time and install the things and everything, you can start it a little bit more quicker.
And it's not just for smartphones; it is for tablets too.
For tablets too. I don't know if you can see this now, but if we take a look at the this is a simple.
Show to the camera.
This is a simple calculator. We have talked just a moment ago, and it runs on the tablet and on the phone and any other device which runs an Android system. Yeah.
Okay, Stefan. That's a very nice and it's very sort of educational presentation. You've taken us through a lot of steps and show some 3 main apps we could all write in like a Sunday afternoon again. Let's have a look at what people have to ask of us in the Q&A section. The viewers may want to know that we have a bit of a problem perhaps reading from the screen, but I hope you forgive us for selecting questions. We have a question from Martin Simlastic. Is the source code together with the whole Eclipse project files going to be available to attendees of the webinar? By the way, it was a very nice and interesting webinar. Thank you, Martin. What do you think, Stefan? The source code, everything you've been discussing is of course discussed in the book.
Yes.
And we have a support website.
Yes.
for the book where all the codes are available. So
This is
that
right.
that is basically the answer to Martin's question. We have Errol Fabrice. The book is very good. Thank you. Okay, we have Burgess Taylor here. Stefan, can you explain the override again? Perhaps we can scroll back to one of our slides and have a look at the. Sorry, that is the presentation. Yeah.
This here, the override.
Yes, override. Perhaps a few words.
The override is a directive where you have a method of the system, and you change the method, so it will be overridden by your own version.
So the system has a fixed version ready for you, and it assumes you're going to use it, but you are not. You have your own system, and you need to tell the system that it will be overridden.
There's a dummy version of the system, so
okay.
you need to extend it a little bit.
Perhaps you can select another question, Stefan, if you like. I'll do it for you happily, but...
Here's a question from...
JBM Juno. Yes, thank you.
Is IDE the same for as Eclipse for mobile developers?
Okay.
It's a good question. If you go to the Eclipse website, you find the IDE in very much versions. Every version is named after a spacecraft or a Jupiter moon, and there are also packages for different things. If you want to program in C, C++, or Java, and there's also Eclipse for mobile developers version. I personally don't have tried this package, but as far as I know and as far as I've seen on the website, it's not the same as the bundle which you can download at the Android developer page. Okay. Again, I don't tried it, but if you download it and you install the SDK and the ADT plugin, it's basically the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Here, how do I link my keyboard of my PC to the emulator?
Yes. So,
there are some things you can do with the keyboard. So if you enter into the emulator some values in an input field, and there pops up the little keyboard from the Android screen, and then you can enter normally with the keyboard of the PC the values. Okay. But not all buttons of the emulator are supported. So it's basically for the input fields.
Okay. Yep. Let's see if there are any other serious questions. Perhaps Burgess Taylor. Can you select multiple Android levels? Is that possible, Stefan? That question from Burgess?
In one application, no. You select the level which you want to compile your application, and this is only one. For example, if you select Android level for 2.2, then every application it runs on every phone from 2.2 up to 4.2, whatever the moment. And if you take level from 1.5, it's from there. Okay. But what's not possible is if you choose 2.2 and want to run it on a 1.5 Android system.
No, of course not.
That's not possible.
Okay. Let's see if there are any other questions. Again, to all of our viewers, we select questions.
Has Eclipse a list of all commands? I guess the meaning is the commands from the Android program source code. No, Eclipse doesn't provide this. If you want to see all the commands or all the statements from the Java part from the SDK, these are available on the developer page from Android. So you can look there and find a detailed description of the packages and of the AP functions.
Okay.
But Eclipse itself doesn't provide this. Here, all libraries
Oscar Ramirez.
Yeah. Oscar Ramirez asked, all libraries you are showing are available in Eclipse.
Okay.
These are the packages. They come with the software development kit from Android, and so they are, if this is installed, they are available in Eclipse, or you can download it from the Eclipse IDE if they are not already installed.
From Trifon Tanits.
Yes,
Yeah.
He asked, can this web view be offline or it needs internet? For example, a buffer saving content for offline use or something. This web view, normally it needs access to the internet, but you can access, for example, a web page which is stored on the device. That's an interesting thing, and if you make a normal HTML website and put these on the device where you have your WebView app and point the app to this file, you can program your application, for example, in JavaScript, because the WebView opens this file offline because it's on the phone, and then it runs the JavaScript application which is stored there. It's a very simple way for people who don't want to program very much things with the Eclipse or work with Java or so, and so this is also possible.
Question from René Schwark. Thank you, René.
Can you give some words for have access to the touch function of the display, also a sensor, right? Yes, that's correct. Basically, it's the same like the light sensor. It's only a different sensor from the touch display.
Okay.
And every time you touch or various the position you can also start a method which works with this and set some things or make a sound or something.
Just give an immediate response to any
yes,
sort of button activity. Yeah.
How critical is the part package name from Conny Vogt? Must it be an existing website? No, this is not an existing website. The package name can, in principle, it can everything, because these are the if you make the project, these are the names of directories on the in your workspace, and these are different levels. So it starts with example and or hello world. The next level is example, and the next level then com, and so on.
I think it's time to ask if the people of Element 14 can close this session, but not before we say thank you. I think, Stefan, do we have a thank you screen? We do. At the end. We thank everybody for their kind attention, don't we, Stefan? It was great fun to do this, and we've done it step by step with small projects which actually work on Sunday afternoon. And we have already done our Q&A session, as you can read on screen. Thank you. Okay, cheers, bye-bye everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.